Fixing South Sudan. Tune into Fixing South Sudan show every Saturday from 6 p.m. Spark your creativity on how you can join Fixing the Nation. Fixing South Sudan. Tune into Fixing South Sudan show every Saturday from 6 p.m. Spark your creativity on how you can join Fixing the Nation. Only on Terab Radio 87.6 FM. Seeds of South Sudan.
Hello and welcome to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Adingor, and in this show we discuss ideas for building the new nation. This week on Fixing South Sudan, we shed light on border incursions into South Sudan from our southern, northern, eastern, and western borders. What's happening at our borders, and what are the options for South Sudan? Are there mutually agreeable solutions to border disputes between Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Sudan? And what is the view from the legislature? And joining us in the program are Honorable Mark Nyipoj Obang, who is MP representing WOW Western Barakazal SPLM party list. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Terab Radio. I'm very fine, I'm very well.
And also joining us is Honorable Philip Tonlake, who is MP representing Duke County, constituency number 12, Jonglei State. Welcome to the program. And we are going to talk about the borders, and we dub it as that there is crisis at our borders, and indeed that is the case in Kajikaji between Moyo and Kajikaji. There is simmering conflict since 2014. The scores have died, properties have been destroyed. There is also an active crisis with the deployment of Ugandan army inside Magui, Pogei, and many other areas. And in Western Bargadal, Honorable Magni Poj will tell us what is the situation. We first raise awareness about what is going on. And for our listeners, you will have a chance to weigh in later on, and you, the MPs who are here with me. Let me begin with Uncle Honorable Magni Poj Ubang. What is going on with our border, with Western Bargazal, for instance?
Thank you, Medingor. And in Western Baragazal State, Ofurnahas and Kafia Genji has been the problem and the thorn in the flesh of South Sudan. When I was the governor, 2005 and 2010, the government of Khartoum was still in cooperation of Kafia Genji and Ofurnahas. I myself went and made a tour in Raja, Bora Medina, up to what is called I didn't go up to Rodom, that is where the Hadida is, but I went up far as northern Smail, but I could not go to Kafia Genji because by that time it was still occupied by Khartoum government forces, and that is why I couldn't go. Now I was very much disturbed and shocked when I heard over the social radio and whatsoever that rapid support forces and in Raja and then occupied Raja and all these things. I could not believe it. Today, I myself contacted the governor, Sarah Kaleto, at 1 o'clock and asked her, what is taking place in Raja? She told me that the area is normal, except that there are those displaced people from Darfur and all these things, they have come to Raja area, including Opronas. And that there was claim that even Uganda forces are there in Raja. I asked her, how come that the Uganda forces are in Raja? I said to be in Raja. She laughed. She said, no, there is nothing like that. It is very normal. Only the displaced people came to the area of Raja. If the forces of Uganda forces could go to Western Bar, that's in Raja, that's Western Bar, they could either go through Congo, and then from Congo to Central Africa, and then they go to Raja. Or they could go through Yambio, Tumbura, and then or through such. Otherwise, they could have gone straight to Darfur, because in Raja there is a small airstrip that could not land any forces of Uganda there. So I asked her, are there Ugandan forces in space? She said, no. situation is very normal. Our forces, the South Sudan forces, they are there in Raja, and there has not been any fight in that area. The thing is that if the rapid support forces took over and chased the government forces from Furnas and Kafia Genji, then that is their concern. Otherwise, Raja is normal. This is what I just want to confirm through Terab Radio that no, I talked to the governor this morning, and the governor said even the commissioner of Raja was in Wow. So that claim that the forces of Uganda and all these things are in Raja is not true. If they have come, then they might have come through northern Sudan, that is Darfur, to the rapid support forces. That's another question to be confirmed in that way. But to be fair and true, there are no forces in Raja except for rapid support forces. If that is there, then they should be in Kafia Genji and Furnahas and nothing else.
It has yet to be independently verified.
That's right.
If the Ugandan, if some forces are there, and for now we will go with the official word from Western Barghazal and from the governor. Nevertheless, it doesn't take away the fact that there is dispute in those borders. What is the history of Kafia Genji and the border dispute, simmering border dispute with Sudan?
Kafia Genji has been one of the thorn between the government of South Sudan and Khartoum. And we're waiting for the border demarcation group. I wish they are here so that they tell us what have they reached about Kafia Genji and Furnas. Kafia Genji and Furnas has been under the control of Khartoum since independence of South Sudan. We've never had a foot there. As I said, I personally, as the governor, to the area there, but I could not go to Kafia Genji myself.
And what is our claim to the area? Who is right and who is wrong?
Historically, the Kafia Genji belongs to South Sudan. In our mind, that's the thing. It is not a question of right or wrong, but it is the government of Khartoum deliberately occupied Kafia Genji because of the copper, because the resources there are copper. In addition to that, I asked her also because they are saying that the rumors that there is mining of gold and whatsoever going on. I asked her, is there gold being mined in that area? She said yes. They received some companies with permits from the government of South Sudan that to allow them to explore for gold and other minerals in the area of Raja. And they've allowed them to go to that area of Raja to explore gold and other minerals. And if they had come back to report them what they're finding is, it is the Ministry of Mining and Industry that should be consulted. Have you issued permits to people to go into Raja area for exploration for gold and other things? But she confirmed that people went there and then they told them to go to Raja area. And they are making exploration there.
Sometime it will be good to hear from your constituent members rather than getting the official story from the governor. But thank you very much for your input. This is Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Mading Or. And with us in the program, Honorable Mark Nyapoch Obang, MP, representing WOW Western Barghazal, SPLM party list. And Honorable Philip Thornlake, MP, representing Duke County, Jonglei State Constituency, number 12, SPLM. And we are talking about fixing the borders and what to do about it. The options for South Sudan. A view from the MPs who are with me here in the studio. Let me take it to Honorable Philip Thornlake to give a reaction. Yes, there is tensions at the border with Uganda, both in Magwi, in Kajikaji, and Sudan, which Honorable Mark Report just spoke about. What is your take about what is going on in our borders? And we will talk about the solutions.
Thank you, Madingor and Radio Tairap. This is a very important topic to us and the country as a large. The boundaries of a nation, the external boundaries of a nation, are its identity before its own internal boundaries. At the time the British conquered the Sudan in 1898, the first thing they did was to ensure the the domination, delimitation of the boundaries of the country they call Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. And in that case, there are the stories which are available in the records of during the colonial period and how they settled the boundaries. That is a long story, and one can elaborate on a different topic. So far as our border with the neighboring countries, South Sudan are concerned, we have 3 boundaries that are giving our country a problem. That is, strangely enough, is our boundary with the Sudan. Before our independence, we had a boundary of the southern provinces. And in the comprehensive peace agreement, it was agreed that the boundaries of South Sudan, external boundaries and internal boundaries, will be as per the 1st of January 1956. This is also in our constitution now. It is the CPA provision, and it is in our constitution. So Sudan never respected the boundaries that we have been enjoying while we were part of Sudan. And here you get the case of Genji in Iraya. It was part of the comprehensive peace agreement, and there is an article on it. And therefore it should not be contested or reoccupied. It is a place that has to come automatically to South Sudan. Our borders with the Sudan, they created new contested area. One of them is Kaka. Kaka Tijare is on the River Nile. It is the boundary between Sudan, which is then Jebel Nuba, and Upper Nile. Is far from the River Nile, where Kaka is located. There is also another place where they launch a complaint, that is in northwestern Upper Nile. There is a place called Magenes. Magenes is on the other side of the border, and our part, sometimes they were claiming it. Going to the other side, we have the case of Abia, which is
the famous Abia.
Yeah, which is a different issue as such. We have the Mal 14 in northern Barzan.
Yes.
Until now, we don't have boundary problem with Congo.
That is the Jilich
and Ethiopia. These are 2 countries that our borders are stable. As for our boundary with Kenya, which were delimited or defined, by the way, before 2019-26, we did not have borders with Kenya as such. We had borders with Uganda, because the present Lake Turkana or Turkana County in Kenya was called Lake Route of France under Uganda, the British protectorate of Uganda. So from 1911, negotiations started between the Sudan on one hand and Uganda, and these were colonies of Britain, on the future of the boundaries. And it went 1911, 1912, until in 1913, the British Secretary for Colonies formed a committee to define the boundaries between Uganda and Sudan in a way that the boundary is advantageous to both countries, and it is also facilitative for the administration. And this commission worked and came up with, we had an issue of what the King of Belgium, King Leopold, carved out a territory inside present South Sudan and called it Lado Enclave. This Lado Enclave went up to Lake Albert, and it was part of the Sudan, carved out of it. So there was an exchange between the Sudan and Uganda. But Uganda was given Lake Albert area, the area delimited by the River Nile on the right-hand side of the river, up to Lake Albert, up to the Congo border, to the Nile River Divide, was given to Uganda by the Sudan. And Sudan took in land that were occupied as part of Uganda, which start from Nimili, south of Nimili, at the mouth of Anyama River, up to the Dinka Hill, Latomo, Jebel Latomo, up to Lake, Lazulia, and then to Jebel Maguli, up to Lake Rudolph, which is now Lake Turkana. We are part of it, South Sudan, a part of the land of the lake, which Kenya has now chopped off. So our boundary problem started since Kenya took over the land that is now called Turkana or Lake Rudolph from 1926 from Uganda. From the time Uganda was administering this area until 1926, we did not have complaint from Uganda. It was from 1930, after they have taken over the land, that Kenya started complaining. And the complaint was not a claim of land. It was because the Ethiopian tribes of Donyoro and Marile used to come through the Sudan Elime Triangle. And this Elime Triangle, by the way, it is wrongly spelled. It is Olemi. Olemi was an Anuak king that was found by the British in Buma. That was his seat. And they named that area Olemi Triangle. And it has been misspelled over the years. It is called Melili, it is called Olemi, but it is Olemi, king of Anuak. It was the name of that area. It's totally inside South Sudan. It is part of the Sudan. And Kenya did not claim any land until when it was about to get independence. Only they were talking about Ethiopian tribes of Maril and Donyoro. When they come and raid the Turkana of Kenya now, not Uganda, so they passed through the Sudan territory. So they were able to be given money, 30,000 sterling pound per a year. 10, 15 was for a year, and 10 was to be a monthly, in order to pay Kenya, Africa Rifles, for the services they do to protect the citizens of Kenya. Now Sudan was saying, it is not true. Why do we have to pay for the services of Kenya protecting its own citizens? We have our own citizens. And Tafosa is not going to raid them. It is the Turkana that come and graze in South Sudan, and they are protected. That was the argument. So until when they were near, Kenya was near to independence in 1963, they started claiming that they are the British that we need the land between us and the Sudan to be demarcated. And British say, the land that you want is near the Ethiopian border. And that land has been claimed by Ethiopia, and this demarcation will need transfer of land. And the land that you want is in a place called Nyamurfurut. If it is given, if we agree, then we'll need a change of land with Ethiopia, not with Sudan. So British refused that demarcation. And Sudan has been paying for the protection of Kenyan citizens, because the Marila tribe and the Nyiro from Ethiopia used to come passing through the Sudan Limit Triangle or Limit Triangle. That was the case. But in that case, there was no case of complaint for land. Come the independence, when Sudan was independent in 1956, there was no complaint from Kenya. But in 1967, Kenya published a series of maps in which they removed the boundary, which is called administrative direct straight line.
This is after obtaining independence.
After obtaining independence in 63. In 1967, they published unilaterally, without agreement from the Sudan, or even not consulting the British, their former colonial master, who refused to grant them demarcation before independence, some years before independence. So they decided unilaterally to publish map which removed the boundaries, international boundary between Uganda, Kenya, and Sudan. And that is the straight line called Uganda 1913 line. And that line is the line I was talking, it is defined in the report, and I have seen it here. It is also well defined. No need to talk about it. Now, the Sudan reacted to that, and they went into a meeting in 1982. In 1968, a joint ministerial committee was formed. And that ministerial committee formed a technical committee to look into. One of the things is to come up with the meaning of the 1913, the meaning of the 1913 straight line, Uganda straight line, which is the one between Kenya and then to ascertain whether the Turkana grazing lands were inside the Taposa land or south of the straight line. Of course, the straight line cut the Turkana grazing land to the south, so there is no case of Turkana grazing in the Taposa land. Now, in the period after, they did not. This committee worked and then tabled it in report. Kenya continued to be adamant. In 1982, in 1978, the committee, the joint ministerial committee met, and severally they have been meeting. But in 1983, in October 1988, this is where they came up with a claim that the Olemi Triangle is an integral part of Kenya. But they were asked to bring the documents supporting. They say they did not have. Sudan provided the documents. When they were given the document, they came out and say, this territory is ours. So it is a decision by Kenya to invade our land without anything. By the time Kenya had been invading Sudan from 1986, they went to Kibich on the Lake Turkana. Kibich, South Sudan, and they, on their side it's called River Sach. On our side it's called River Kibich. It is on Lake Turkana, near the Gulf of Sanderson. Now, it is after that that they declare that the territory is theirs. And you will find in my report there that the Kenyan government cabinet approved it in 1986 that this land is ours, it will never go to anybody else. Even Raila and Kalonzo Musyoka, they talk. And that was behind Daniel Aramoy, that was members of the opposition doing this with some general. Now, this is the one, so I want to say that Kenya did not begin to invade South Sudan from when they came to Nadapal. They started in 1986 to 96. In 1996, they wanted to get rid of SPLM behind the back of Moi. They reinforced their position. They took places like Torinyang, then Kaloge Gilei, and then Nyamurke Nyang. They occupied these places, and these are places of South Sudanese of Taposa. At that time, they reinforced in September 1996. John Garang was passing out forces in Naita, which is the land of South Sudan, and which is not very far from Kibich. And they went there, those of Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka went there and made a statement. They wanted to provoke the SPLM. Knowing that the SPLM is based in Kenya, political offices are there after the collapse of Mengistu in Ethiopia. SPLM was compelled to ship to Kenya on the request of Moi. And so the political office is there. Kenya was the logistical transit. Our refugees were there. So they wanted, and by then they started arresting the SPLM leaders who were in Nairobi for medical reasons, like Luala Ding, like Edwelino was coming with a message. And a lot of South Sudanese were arrested and were later bailed. When Moi had it, they were sent out. So they wanted actually to get rid of SPLM, and that was the time Raila Odinga was invited by Khartoum and went to occupy oil fields that were taken from the SPLM, SPLA by the forces of joint forces of Riek Machar and the Sudan government. Raila went there and asked Sudan. So it was not a disconnected thing. It was a political connection with Sudan. Now coming to the present invasion, they have done this since 2009. Of course, all of us are aware that when we were fighting the war, our key base is in a place which is less than 1 kilometer from Logochogwe.
Yes.
Our boundary with Kenya is on Mount Mugila. Mugila is that mountain in Logochogwe. And it dropped down. The straight line started from the top of Mount Mugila, passing through the river.
Yes.
And the buildings that you see on the northern side of Logochogwe were built by the Sudan. They are our custom houses. And that line passed towards Lodule, to Mount Urogo in the Didinka land, and to go and divide us with the Uganda. Kenya came up to Nadapal, and Nadapal is very far. Kenya went left and right and brought the Toto oil to explore for oil it was doing that it was doing exploration in Turkana. They moved it to South Sudan territories that they have occupied. In 2009 itself, when the Kenyan army came, and they occupied these territories of Nyangia and the other sections of Taposa, the youth fought them, and they even defeated them, the Kenyan army, and they left. Now, there was no agreement on the government side to fight, and therefore the Taposa were later restrained. So that the question is, why is Kenya not stopping? Of course, they have given that claim in 1988. In October 1988, they claim that the area called Olemi Triangle, which is about more than 8,000 square kilometers, miles, is their territory, including Buma, and including the Taposa land, is their territory. Sudan, in that time, when they did that, they threatened to withdraw from the 1938 arrangements, in which the Kenyans are allowed to graze or move within Sudan territory. And then they were threatened to stop, to send away all the Kenyans who are in the territory of the Sudan away. That meant war. And that time the SPLA was fighting. But Kenya saw that it was exploiting the situation of war. At the moment, Kenya is exploiting our economic situation and our current civil wars that are not ending. So it is an exploitation of a country that is not expected to do that. As for Uganda, they observed that we did not do anything to stop Kenya. So they started sending their fleet. Now for the border between Uganda and South Sudan from the Acholi land, starting from the border of Acholi land with Budi County, downward, the boundaries are known. They were established by law, and they are available in the information that I collected in 1996 in the Kenyan archive through the directives of Dr. John, that I had to ask Dr. Sumboiwa to give me a letter to access the Kenyan. So I collected this one, and this is what formed the report that I wrote when I was the chairman of Foreign Affairs. Now, Uganda did not start like Kenya. They started recently, and this was following the observation they made. Seeing that there is no reaction to the Kenyan occupation. So they started here with the Kajakaji territory. The Kuku land is on the River Nile, following the River Nile to their border with the Lukbari. And the border passes there. Now, the River Nile and the Anyama River are a boundary. And then there is a line that passes up to where they meet the line coming, the straight line coming from Kenya. They also came to Acholi land, to Ngamarama. The next was Winkebul. And now it is, the border passes through, Teretenya was a Uganda town, it was given to Sudan. They are now overtaking Teretenya, Pogey, and all these areas. And now in the places, Kukulen, which is based on the Nile, to the border of Uganda, Lukbari tribe. So the question is, who will stop the invaders? It is us as a nation that have to act. There is no pain. One time, one of the former minister of education, foreign affairs, told me that Kenyans are our friend when I read this one. I told him that, can you allow your friend to come to your house and sleep with your wife? That is the case. It is our land because what the Kenyan wants in the Turkana and the Taposa land are the minerals and the oil.
Yes.
What the Ugandan want, they want the land for agricultural purpose. They have started in Fogay cultivating. So the question, who is going to stop them? This is what we have to do. We have read it several times in the parliament and discussed. It is under data has been collected, data is already provided, to raise it as a motion and question the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Interior, whose dockets are responsible for this thing.
Thank you for that elaborate background. You are on Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. I am Madingor, and with us in the programs are Honorable Magnupoj Obang, MP representing Wow Western Bar Kazal SPLM party list, and Honorable Philip Thorn Lake, MP representing Duke County, constituency number 12, SPLM, Jonglei State, and we are speaking about the crises at the border and how to solve them. And the question that Honorable Philip Thorn Lake just raised, who will stop the invaders? Rather, how to stop them rather than who. It's not a question of who, Republic of South Sudan, but how.
Just to come in to support Philip, when the Operation Lifeline, South Sudan, wanted a base, it asked the Kenyan government for a base to be put, and that is where Logochoko was chosen as the base. If they knew that Nadapal is their base, they could have put Logochoko in Nadapal. But no, knowing that that land belongs to Sudan, and Sudan has border posts at Link, then that is where the Operation Lifeline was put at Link at Logochoko. That is at that river. I remember very well that when we used to cross with our telephone, when you cross the Link River, they say, you have gone in Sudan. When you are crossing, going back to Kenya, when you cross the Link River, it will the satellite will say, oh, you are now in Kenya. I'm now surprised that Kenya now begin to say, we are in, they come to Nadipal, that is the border.
Safaricom welcomes you to Kenya.
Even our key base, where our stores used to be, they call it key base, they were after Link in Sudan territory. And now Kenya is saying that that land belongs to him. It is the weakness of our government. It is the weakness of our disunity. Otherwise, they would have not thought so. Now, when we were holding a conference, we came to hold a conference in the Kukulen, the Operation Lifeline. We were in that place. And now that plan has now been claimed by Uganda. But whereas the other time, we were holding it in Sudan itself. You remember that?
Yeah, in New Kush.
The conference we held. In New Kush, and there now even the hot water spring where the senior officers conference was held. Uganda now claiming it.
Moye
Sukun is claiming it. And our government is quiet. No, you don't hold diplomacy like that. You must also assert yourself that this land belongs to me and whatsoever.
Honorable Magna Point, there is no government. You are the government. So what should be done?
We have been raising this in Parliament. That's why we have been taking this up in Parliament to our Minister of Foreign Affairs to also take action and now say, Uganda, my brother, what is this? By the way, this Ngomorama, I came back through Lukung from Ngomorama. Ngomorama is an actual land, they call it, the land is the same. And the people from Ngomorama up to Kidgum are actually, and South Sudan are actually, we tell the actualists, brother, why are you coming to grab my land? We have to talk to them and make diplomatic move. That is what we are saying. Our government should now make a diplomatic move through the Minister of Foreign Affairs to say, Ajima, enough is enough. Our land is this. And we go to the archives in London and get the documents. I remember when I was in the primary school and the geography was being taught, Lake Rodolph was part of our map in South Sudan. It used to be called Lake Rodolph. We got it there now. Now they change it now as Turkano, Lake Turkano. Look at this. It used to be called Lake Rodolph and Lake Albert. All these are the things that we used to put in the geography when we were in 1955, when we were in the primary school. And that was where our boundaries were. And then boundaries began creeping inside. After a short while, they will say Juba is part of the Uganda or Juba is part of Kenya. No, it cannot be. Thank you.
We can see the pattern of what is happening. Our territorial integrity has been violated, and it is due to the internal equation, the wars that we have found ourselves in, and the economic turmoil. South Sudan is in a weaker position, and it should be underscored that we are a landlocked nation dependent on Kenya. We don't have an alternative pipeline, and we cannot survive without Uganda bringing food. We use the road to Uganda. Even the road to Kenya has not been paved. Ethiopia, a big market. We are not getting anything from Ethiopia, from Central Africa Republic. We don't talk of Sudan now. And even before, there was that crisis with Sudan, and food was not coming in a regular way. So we are in a fix. We are in a fix, Honorable Mark Newport. And talking now about the options, is our option to do nothing, or is it diplomatic? If it is diplomatic, how?
Diplomatic offensive. We've got to move and form committees in the parliament, the government, and all these things. We move and go to them and tell them, look, what has happened? Why are you grabbing this land? And the people on the other side are Acholis like ourselves.
There's Acholi, there is Mahdi on both sides.
Both sides.
Kuku on both sides.
We talk to them. They are there. We talk to them. That's the problem. Only on the other side there, Furnaz has been totally fixed and all this. Mile 14, the government of Sudan will also understand now. Most of them have come now, and they used to say that, oh, you are bad people, but we have hosted them, and they can see the benefit of an independent state as an independent state called South Sudan. That's the thing.
Honorable Philip Thorne, what are our options, diplomatically or otherwise?
Well, to go back to our nation, or the way of, when your property is taken, where do you go? You go to court. And how do you go to court? We as MPs, of course, from 2015, that is the start of our campaign about against the border incursion. I read in the social media this afternoon, somebody was critical of the TERA program for calling MPs to come and talk about the border, and made his own conclusion without knowing what is happening. He said the MPs have failed to do anything. That means they think MPs are not part of a government. The government is stand on three legs: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. In the situation of hunger now, the role of MPs is being misunderstood. There is an economic crisis in the country, and people think that the MPs are the one not making the executive to get the money. But the MPs are also part of the people suffering. They are not getting their money, and they are questioning the Minister of Finance. Recently, the ministers were called to the parliament to explain how to answer the situation of hunger. Knowing the fact that Sudan war, we were depending on one item for export, that is oil. We have not really made a good use of taxes, because we have neglected the taxes in our country. So I'm explaining this because the role of an MP is misunderstood to be somebody who can all come and fight the government it is part of. Indeed, the MPs are fighting, are actually pressuring the government the executive to do something on issues. And this is one of the issues that the executive should take action, because we see no way that our country can be invaded and we keep quiet. And we started that in 2015. I was head of it on the top, and using that document.
As the chair of
Foreign Affairs Committee.
Foreign Affairs Committee, and that document is entitled Facts on Simmering Boundary Conflict Between the Young Republic of South Sudan and the Republic of Kenya, 20 March 2015, compiled by Honorable Philip Tonling Deng, chairperson.
That was the start of our struggle for the border, because as I said before, the boundary, the invasion of Kenya did not start today. It is the Ugandan invasion that started 2 years ago. But the Kenyans, since they said in October 1988 that the limit triangle is an integral part of Kenya, the government of the Sudan made its own decision, stopping the 1938 administrative arrangements, and then ordering Kenyan to withdraw. We may have one disadvantage to us, as you correctly said before, that we are depending, we don't have Port Sudan any longer. And Sudan was talking independent of Kenya. It was nothing getting in from, we may have this as a reason. But then there is a way going around. Somalia was much more dependent on Kenya than us during its war, and even their parliament was formed in Kenya. But Kenya went in, exploiting the situation of war in Somalia, to claim the marine land where they suspect there will be oil. And they went to the arbitrary court. And they have been given the right, Somalia. So we have two options. If a plane prevents you, takes your property and says that you don't pass, your goods do not pass in this way, that is not acceptable in this world. We tell the concerned ministries through the parliament to take one of these two steps. Step up diplomatic operation. Offensive. Because you cannot keep quiet and your land is being taken. You are postponing the problem for the next generation to fight over the right, because this land is belonging to Sudan. The land is being grabbed by Kenya and Uganda is our right, according to law. And these laws are there. The documents are there. If we cannot get in Kenya, only that Sudan must have spoiled the archives. But they are available. I wonder if I don't know which ministry is in charge of mapping. But maps, we should have claimed our maps. We might have been excited, those who negotiated the boundaries with the Sudan in 2012 must have been excited by the euphoria of independence. And they did not care of other important things. So we don't have maps. The map that was issued was through the pressure of the parliament in 2012.
Concerning the maps, I think you can even go to the Foreign Office in London.
I'm coming.
Yep.
These maps are available, were available in the Sudan survey, unless they are now destroyed. The documents about the borders are available in the Sudan Survey Department. And the particular information I'm talking is available with the Solicitor General of the Sudan. Of course, they may not be there now, the judiciary, because they have been running after a case. So it is not difficult. But if they are not there, you can find the information in Kenya itself, in the archive, where I found this you can go to London as
Yes, the Foreign
Marcus
Office.
said. You go to archives of the Sudan are available in UK.
Yes.
So that will need you a lot of money then to if we got them. So I want to say that we in the parliament are going to raise this. It is being raised, not raising it. It is being raised. So the next step is also to go to the court at arbitration.
Court of arbitration.
Because even if Kenyan and Ugandan are our friends,
The heck.
they cannot.
There's a thin line between friendship and an enemy.
An enemy.
At some point, when the
So-
friend is not being
Yeah.
friendly,
Yeah.
they become an enemy.
So that this is the line should be done, and that is what the parliament is going to recommend. The parliament will not go to Hague without the executive doing it.
Yes.
I have a clip to play from one of the experts in Kenya who admitted that he did one or two things to make a case for Kenya in South Sudan.
Soon thereafter, Attorney General nominated me to look at a very difficult problem that has persisted in this country, or had persisted in this country from the time of independence. That is the difficulty of an international boundary between Kenya and Sudan. I was entrusted with that task. Ultimately, government, together with the British Council, sponsored me to undertake a Master's in Law program at London School of Economics, and as part of the LLM program, to undertake original research in Kenya-Sudan boundary. I was at LSC. I spent numerous hours at Public Records Office because commissioners, all the documents of this republic during the colony and protectorate status, all those documents are at Public Records Office. I'm sure commissioners, you know where Public Records Office is towards Heathrow Airport at Kew Gardens. So I had to commute from LSC, which is at the Strand, and go to this Public Records Office every other single day, and I acquired a wealth of material. In 1 minute, commissioners, at the turn of towards 1914, the boundary was defined by the British government as a straight line between two fixed points, or in the alternative, such a line that would give to us the customary grazing grounds of the Turkana. Those grazing grounds were never defined, but towards 1938, a survey party established that the boundary was slightly above the straight line. That was not to be. We went on, and Sudan demarcated what they call 1950 Sudanese patrol line. That Sudanese patrol line is what actually triggered my interest in this area. And by application of principles of international law, I actually established that when any government allows a competing government to administer an area, the doctrines of acquiescence, doctrines of renunciation of territory, they all kick in. I hope we'll have an opportunity to discuss this in greater detail, but in one sentence, we were able, or I was able in my research, to establish that the Sudanese patrol line, which is a considerable distance from the straight line, is now the international boundary. So, commissioners, I'm sure you all remember, in 1980s, the Kenya-Sudan boundary was indicated as a straight line. Then in 1985-86, we had an extended boundary that went towards Sudan. The difference in graphic terms is that through this research and the validation that went on in government, we were able to change our international boundary from the straight line to the new boundary, and we acquired 9,680 square kilometers. To put it in context, the former Western Province was 7,400 square meters. So we acquired a territory larger than the former Western Province. This is one of my research papers.
There you go. Evidence from a Kenyan expert. What is your reaction?
Now you can see. The 1950 patrol, Sudan patrol, was an agreement. It was agreement that Sudan should administer. If it fails to administer this area, then it cedes the part it cannot administer. Sudan objected to the ceding of the land. And the Kenya reaction, look, the British gave this suggestion that you can cede the land. But the Kenya government say, no, we don't need to waste money on a territory.
That is not ours.
That is worthless, and this is not ours. So the Sudan government was saying that why are we paying money to pay for the protection of your own citizens? What is your responsibility? Now, Sudan took to patrol its territories that it was unable to reach. By the time this patrol was done, there was an agreement for Kenya, which was ordered by the British, to establish administration in Logotiang. Logotiang was the first capital on Mount Dabur, was the first capital of Turkana district.
Yes.
Or
Logotiang, yes.
Logotiang. And it was established on the basis that the East African rifles will have to patrol to protect its people around Lake Turkana on the Sudan and the Kenyan side.
It is Lake Rodolph, not Turkana.
Yeah, that's so now this man is actually saying that, yeah, this is what we decided.
I delivered for my country.
Who ceded to them? Because in an agreement between the two countries, a land is ceded through an agreement for the two parties to agree. The party that own the land agree to give away, and the party that is receiving agree to receive it. Who gave it? 1950, there was no land given. And in 1950 also, before 1950, Sudan had built administrative positions at Logolei. And it was patrolling the areas where the Donyira and Murile cross to come to the Kenya, to the territory of Nyamurfut, which is the area which Ethiopia claimed. And it was given to Sudan and cannot be given away again, because we gave Ethiopia took part of the Anuak. It wanted to take the whole, this river,
Gilo?
No, it's not Gilo. Gilo. River,
Yes.
The Gilo saline. They want to take it, including Buma, but the British say no. Let us hear it. The part of the Anuak remain in Sudan, and the part of the Anuak go to. So this man is saying nothing than what I am saying here. He has not. He got the document, but he's not about to tell his commission the right thing.
Yeah, Philip. In Yakamade, a deal. You can see the name, the British, when they came, they called it Lake Rodolph. Then again, when the British left, they call it Lake Turkana. Instead of Lake Tafo.
They're right, they can change the name.
You can see now.
They can change the name because Rodolph is not
But that's in Yakama. Instead of Turkana, then they should have put it Lake Taposa.
You're on Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. With me, Madingor, and when we come back from the break, this is when we are now going to take your calls. Welcome back to Fixing South Sudan, your ideas for building the new nation. With me, Madingor, and now time to take some calls. I've already given you the numbers. Good evening, Fixing South Sudan. Good evening, Fixing South Sudan. Oh, sorry, I did not even pick from the original South. Hello, Fixing South Sudan. Good evening, Fixing South Sudan.
Yes, evening, sir.
Evening to you.
This is Peter Mading.
Peter Mading, welcome.
Thank you very much for the discussion that you have done.
You're most welcome.
My point to the honorable who are there at the studio is that with us South Sudanese, we have missed only one thing. We have to unite ourselves first to be brothers for the nation, and we make ourselves patriots to our people. This is the only thing. And whispering, talking just down will never just solve our problem, because those people who are now grabbing our land, they are united. They are not fighting themselves. So for my point to those honorable is that, first of all, talk as a united people. This is my point. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter Mading, for your comment. And we are going to take more. Good evening, Fixing South Sudan. Okay. Good evening, Fixing South Sudan.
Radio.
Yes.
Good evening to you.
Yes. Greetings. Yes.
Now you are with Samuel.
Samuel Wal. Welcome.
Yes.
Your question?
Thank you. It is my comment to honorables whom are there in the studio. True. What happened in South Sudan? Since we are in the war, we know all our borders. And then when our brothers come and invade our land, in this case, and people are saying they are friends, even your brother at one room, you will go into court with him if you went to loot your properties. So it is not a matter of Kenya to be our friend or Uganda to be our friend. It is not there. So our land is our land. If my friend come to be my enemy, I can consider what happened. I can fight with him. So this is the thing. After that, I know the Honorable Tonle was talking about. It is very far with me. But when we are in the war, I know Logoshokyo. I think there is a Kibes.
And Koduluma.
It is just only 20 minutes to Logoshokyo. This is where we are sitting there on the top of mountain. That is our border. We know we, the soldiers of the SPLA. But right now, they are crossed this border up to the Ladapan. And then, here in Uganda, I heard when I was coming from outside there, when the people are building there in Lelegu, they say, oh, they come to make they will come and make the development to us. How can the other nation come to develop your nation?
That border used to
This
be
thing-
around Atiak and other places.
Yeah. And then we know when we are there, when we are a soldier there, we know which this place, BBR. BBR,
Yes.
that is our checkpoint. When somebody come from Uganda there, we check what thing that he cares. So that is
Okay.
our checkpoint.
Thank you very
And
much,
that
comrade.
They will come up to now.
Shukran
So,
jazilan. Thank you
me
very much.
myself, I need to say, leave about it. The Madin said now, we need to unite. The land there is no uniting. When we are starting the war with Arab, we are starting with our negotiation, come together, and then we will fight. No, let us start it, and then they will come to unite.
Okay, it will unite
Yeah.
us because it's a patriotic thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Shukran jazilan. Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you. There's another caller. Good evening, Terap.
Madin Nyor, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Yeah, you are talking to Abuna Israel.
From Israel?
You are talking to Abuna Israel.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Serika.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I appreciate your conversations at the radio station at this time.
Yes.
Are you getting me?
I'm
Yes.
getting you.
Yeah, I greet the MPs who are there at the house, and you are talking about the border issues. So what I'm saying is, are those MPs aware about the peace that is coming in South Sudan on 24th September?
The what?
The peace? Which one?
Yeah,
2018?
the Israeli peace of God coming in South Sudan on 24th September. Are they aware about
They are not
that?
aware.
That
You-
is one
We are not.
question.
You can break the news to them.
Yeah. So if they don't know, they have to raise the message to Augusta House that the Lord All-Powerful is stopping guns in the whole world on 24th September this month.
Very good. That's the good news.
And then the whole world will put guns down. The dollar is coming down.
Yes.
All the prisoners will be released. They are going home. They
I-
were released by the Lord All-Powerful.
I think-
In the newer language, we are calling it Nyani.
Nearly, okay. I think you have just given us hope to the people of South Sudan.
The whole world on 24th.
Thank you. Thank you very much, comrade. Shukran jazilan.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Okay.
And I appreciate you for the discussion.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Terap FM.
Yes, Melinor,
Yes.
this is a call Paul Credit.
Oh, honorable.
I want to thank you very much and my colleagues who are there in the studio and would like to make a very short comment. If you look at the Global State Index, our country, South Sudan, ranks number 3 this year. Last year, we were ranking number 2. Sudan overtook us this year, and Sudan became number 2, and we are number 3. We became number 3 not because we did very well, but because Sudan performed worse than us. That's why they overtook us. Having mentioned that, one of the attributes of a fragile state, among many other things, is the loss of territory internally and externally. If you look at our situation internally here, there are places that where I cannot go as Honorable Okol Paul or Comrade Madingor or Honorable XYZ to go and speak to people for one reason or another. There are no-go zone places for leaders in this country. There's a territory law of Sudan State Act as internal. Externally, the same thing applies. There's the case of Nadapal now being on the other side of the border, large parts of Kajukeji, Magwe being on the other side of the border. Now some parts of the Republic also, our northern frontier, all still with Sudan, and more being taken on side of Raga, northwestern part of our country. For you to respond to this, it has to be a complex response because the problem itself is complex. For example, southern part of our republic, the states that are neighboring us from that side, are grabbing our land, annexing it to their national territories. But remember that you've got large proportion of your population in those countries. So even if you were to have a formidable military strength, you'll not be able to claim those territories where a vast majority of your population is in those countries. They live there, they go to school there. We ourselves go there for education, health, name it. So you can see the main task of having us putting our house in order in the first place, to have a country that is self-sustaining if you are a soul to reclaim your territories that you are losing. So there's a tremendous work that is needed to be done. Of course, to begin with simple word unity, but also unity without, other parameters that consolidate that unity and sustain it. I don't think we'll be able even to benefit from our unity. So we've got a long list of issues that are on our political menu. It is time now to reorder them, to prioritize them, to sequence them, and time them.
So,
and then move as a nation.
are you recommending that we don't do anything at the moment, or we first get our house in order first?
Well, there are things that you need to do in the context of international relations. A state must make protest through diplomatic channel. We are part of East African Community. We are part of African Union.
You got
and these regional bodies have got also internal mechanism for dispute resolution, whether it be a border dispute or any other type of dispute.
Thank you very much.
And opening this institution at this hour and registering our case is important, and then we can move from there.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening, Teraf FM.
Yes, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I would like to greet our honorable in the studio. They're doing a very good job. But our big problem is that our foreign policy is not all that is strong to bring all those kind of problems we are now encountering, like the incursion of South Sudan land by Kenya and also Uganda, And the second thing here is that I want to touch about implementation. Like we have a lot of problem in implementation. Like for example, if anything that's passed in the parliament and given to Ministry of Foreign Affairs to implement it, the only thing is they will say is there is no fund to implement it. And we always wanted fund to come from outside to implement our own affairs. So South Sudan is our home. Why, if anything happened like that, why don't we the well-wishers, or we the people of South Sudan, we contribute the small money we are getting, well, let's contribute and fund all those programs to go ahead. We need to be careful about our own land. So this issue of getting funds to implement our own project in our land, this is where our problem comes.
I even heard that some of the committee members were funded by Kenya from South Sudan.
That is the problem. Yeah, that is the problem. First thing I wanted those people, the lawmakers, let them be careful. Let us first thing, like, let me give an example. Like now, the U.S. become very strong about like controlling the whole world because they have a nice foreign policy in their whatever. Those ones here, it gives a clear roadmap in case of any other thing come maybe to deal with the foreigners. What do? We go to check our foreign policy. What do our foreign policy says about it? So we move around those ones there. But it's still, we're still lack of those things. I don't know. Even I was here before, but I don't know what even our foreign policy says in case of any other thing comes in and when we want to go out. And the second thing is our diplomatic whatever is very weak. It's very weak. Like recently, like due to financial whatever challenges, some of our embassies been closed. So how do we become strong? Those are the things we need to tackle so that we smooth out that kind of issues. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, comrade. And
all right.
I think the time is running, and the people in the studio are not very young, although They are young at heart. So I think let me just take one caller, lucky caller, and then we'll get back to you in the studio. Evening, Terafa.
Hello, Joseph Mogri.
Oh, Joseph from Mogri.
Yes,
Welcome.
I get your news.
Yes.
So this happened since 1996 in the presence of John Garang and Salva Kiir himself. When Uganda came from there, they came to take the territory, and because of the LRA, but they grew and built a road and built a bridge. And the bridge is a fence in the presence of the people. Now, we have to say, could we back the voice of John Garang or somebody on that 1996 when the liberation people go to Parajob, to where they go. And those there, we are present. And we know. Even Mr. Museveni himself, John Garang, Salva Kiir, they know how those people build their fence. And how they build the bridge. And how they build the road, they cultivate, they move the road from Bibia up to those mountains. That is Uganda. When we go to Kenya, it is the same. It happened. And we know those problems. And could we back the voice of the people into the studio from 1996? And we get the voice and the people of this today. Now we talk probably. Nobody knows and respect ourselves. Honorable, thank you for those you say, and I say thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm going to bring it back to the studio. I know as much as we would like to hear more from you, the time is not our friend in this case. And with us in the studio are Honorable Magni Pojo Bang, MP representing WOW Western Bayakazal, SPLM party list, and Honorable Philip Thornlake, MP representing Duke County, constituency number 12, SPLM. You have heard from some of our listeners. Honorable Magni Pojo, your reaction.
Well, it is very good that so many, especially Abuna Israel's talking about 24th of September, that God is coming to intervene and lay down the guns and whatsoever it is. This is
and the dollar will be defeated.
I'm very, very happy about that. And then also that we should go to the regional regional bodies and take our complaints. Well, these are all points to be opened. This is a talk not against anybody, but waking up the people, the government and all these things, including the parliament, so that we give the options. This is what we wanted to hear from the people, that Jama, don't sleep, move, take action, so that the grabbing of your land is stopped. I'm very, very pleased to hear all those comments that have come from you. We are encouraging our country, members of foreign affairs, members of parliament, so that we dialogue and talk, and then we seek solutions. This is what we wanted to do. We are not targeting anybody, but we are saying, oh, our land is being grabbed. Why are we sleeping? We must wake up and then take action. That's all that is the intention of the Terab. Thank you, Terab Radio, that you have woken us up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Philip Thornley.
Thank you very much, Madinor, and to open us to the question line. And I very much thank the people who have responded, starting with Brother Peter, to Samuel Wall, to Reverend Israel, Honorable Dr. Paul Kodit, to Joseph Ramogri. Yes, I think many of your viewpoints are well taken. The question of unity is lacking, yes. The lack of resources, yes. The availability of our people in the diaspora, in the neighboring countries, which are looting our country, is a big issue. And that is what these countries are exploiting. And did they did the same during the war, when they knew that Sudan, as a government, has its own priorities, and that is to fight the war with the SPLM, SPLA. And SPLA is with us here. So they told the Sudan, the territory called the Olemi Triangle is our integral part. They're talking of somebody who has something to say. Now, they were challenging us as SPLM. We were there, the families of the leaders, the families of other armed refugees were there. Our logistics was passing through there, our political office and humanitarian office were there. And they were also sometimes helping us on this and this. So it is very unkind of them in our situation. It is very unkind of these countries to be doing this at the time they themselves rate benefit that they can get from South Sudan, being a rich country, is very high. The time we are not yet developed, if we look at our trade now, the trade passing, the goods that we are buying are coming from the East African countries, particularly Kenya and Uganda. Are we not contributing to their economy? Their citizens are working here. We are not telling them to get away like they used to tell us that you cannot do business in Kenya because you are a refugee. We are aware of this disadvantage we are in, which is why we have been recommending the diplomatic offensive, which we have said, both of us have said this. Yep. And I also commend Honorable Dr. Akol Fall, yep, for taking. We know our own weaknesses as a government, as people, as a country. The need to put our acts together is paramount. This economic difficulty will not end unless we think of how to go about it. Like, for instance, I hope by next season, everybody will go down to cultivate. In other areas, as Honorable Okol was saying, that you cannot go, yes. Like in my county, there are parts I cannot move. In the years past, I used to be traveling. But there are places where if you fast, you will be shot dead. So there is a real problem. Communities fighting, and you people who are trying to do something are caught in between. We are unable to stop it. The economic is running away. So we understand this, and this is why we came here to discuss, yes, to let our people be aware what is the problem. Because it is in the social media and in the open media, social media particularly has done a lot of good information. It is informing the people that here and there our land is being taken. And the social media has been questioning, and why are you keeping quiet? We, the MPs, have been questioned. And they think that we have failed. We have not failed the economy because we are not in charge of economic dealing. We give recommendations. But there are people who have to do. But then we appreciate this present situation, and this is why we, together with the civil servant, are waiting patiently. We are not in, because we are not being fed. We have families and we have our own. This is why many people are dying every day. We appreciate this because this is our situation. We came out of the war and then we get into the crisis of conflict. Who expected that somebody will fight when we get our independence? But 2 years into our independence, we have been fighting and it has not stopped. This has encouraged tribal and community conflicts. So we are really very careful, but we know how to go in between this. We cannot keep silent without telling the public what is wrong with our neighbors. But when approaching our neighbors, we have to use diplomacy.
Diplomacy, yeah. Diplomacy.
We are not going to, as some people were saying that we were fighting. Yes, we know how to fight, but then can we fight with our communities hosted by these countries?
No.
They will kill them. Do we want them killed?
No.
They are also here.
They are also, but they are purer than us. Those who are here are purer than us. Even if we kill them, they can kill our people. Our children are there in education because we have not developed our own education. Our people are there sick in their hospitals. We have not built our hospitals. So it is a crisis we are aware, and we should bear with it. But we have to talk while we wait. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And before I let you go, our national anthem.
Yeah, good.
May God bless South Sudan. We vow to protect our nation.
Mabruk, independent South Sudan. Mabruk, Mabruk, Mabruk. Thank you very much.
Hallelujah.
And you were speaking about the government being composed of three arms: legislature, parliament. Legislature is the parliament, the executive, judiciary. There is also something called fourth estate, and that is the media. So we are also part of the government.
Yeah, indeed, the media.
But we are not appointed.
No, these are parts that are in a triangle. There is voluntary part of the angle, because there is the public, the private, and the voluntary.
Thank you very much. And that is the end of our show on Fixing South Sudan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fixing South Sudan. Tune into Fixing South Sudan show every Saturday from 6 p.m. Spark your creativity on how you can join Fixing the Nation. Only on Terap Radio 87.6 FM. Seeds of South Sudan. Fixing South Sudan. Tune into Fixing South Sudan show every Saturday from 6 p.m. Spark your creativity on how you can join Fixing the Nation. Only on Terap Radio 87.6 FM. Seeds of South Sudan.
From Lologo to Juba Town, Gudere to Shefkat, Terap Radio gets you covered. We are the seeds of South Sudan.